The millionaire called the nanny useless. Seconds later, she saved his daughter's life. It was a quiet Monday morning in Barton Creek, an upscale neighborhood in Austin, Texas. The air was still crisp when Nathan Carter, CEO of one of the most successful luxury car dealership chains in the South, came down the stairs in his tailored suit and gleaming Swiss watch. As always, he expected breakfast at exactly 7:15 a.m. Not a minute late. "Where's my coffee?" Nathan barked from the dining room. The woman, just 1 week into her job, entered the room carrying a silver tray with freshly brewed French press coffee, toasted bread, and perfectly sliced fruit. "I'm sorry, Mr. Carter. I just finished the coffee," Elena Morales said softly. Nathan glanced at his watch and sighed with visible annoyance. "Late? Where were you at 7 sharp?" "In the kitchen, sir, preparing exactly what you asked for," Elena replied, keeping her voice respectful. "You're the 5th housekeeper I've hired in 6 months. Do you know why the others didn't last?" Nathan asked, not even looking at her. "No, sir. Because they didn't understand the rules here. In a home like this, everything needs to function like a machine. Flawless, emotionless, no mistakes." Elena stayed quiet, nodding. Not because she agreed, but because she knew she needed this job more than she needed to defend herself. And Nathan Carter, in his rigid high-stakes morning routine, had no idea that in less than 24 hours, he would be looking at the very woman he dismissed and call her the one who saved his entire world. Nathan Carter was the kind of man who believed money could buy everything, even loyalty and devotion. At 45, he ran a luxury car dealership empire across Texas, where each vehicle cost more than a small apartment. In his world, people were just replaceable parts in a finely tuned machine. The 11,000-square-foot mansion in Barton Creek wasn't just a home, it was a statement, a symbol of order, control, and dominance. And Nathan applied the same cold, rigid logic he used in business to his household. There was no room for friendliness. Emotions were weaknesses. Staff were hired to perform, not to connect. This applied most of all to housekeepers. Elena Morales, the woman he had just labeled useless, was the 5th one in just 6 months. The previous 4 had all quit, unable to endure the pressure and emotional coldness that clung to every room in that mansion. Nathan didn't know, and frankly didn't care, that Elena had once been an ICU nurse, working in emergency rooms for over 15 years, stabilizing patients on the brink of death. Now he saw nothing but a quiet, middle-aged woman who followed instructions and stayed out of his way. To Nathan, that was efficient. To Elena, it was dehumanizing. "You're here to clean, not to talk, not to care, not to feel," Nathan had told the previous housekeeper, and now he was saying the exact same words to Elena, just changing the name. He never wondered, nor asked, what stories lived behind her worn hands. Stories of grief, of love, of silent strength. Hands that once held life together, now wiping floors in a house where kindness was considered a flaw. Even Lily, the daughter he loved but didn't know how to connect with, was just another item in his daily planner. Everything was scheduled, delegated. Emotion had no place in his routines. Nathan lived as though he could control every variable. But what he didn't realize was, the most precious part of his life was quietly slipping away, day by day. That morning, after Nathan left for his 8:30 meeting, the mansion finally felt quiet. Elena was wiping down the kitchen counters when she heard soft footsteps descending the stairs. "Good morning, Miss Elena," came a cheerful voice. Lily Carter, the 8-year-old with golden curls and eyes full of quiet sadness, entered the kitchen with a small smile. Elena turned around, pleasantly surprised. In her first week on the job, it was the first time Lily had initiated conversation. "Good morning, sweetheart," Elena smiled back. "Would you like some breakfast? I've got something special just for you." Lily nodded eagerly, then leaned in and whispered, "But let's be quick, okay? My dad doesn't like me talking too much with the house staff." Elena felt a pinch in her heart. She knew all too well what it felt like to be emotionally isolated in your own home. "I made your favorite," Elena said gently. "Mini heart-shaped pancakes. But it's our little secret, okay?" She winked. Lily giggled, a sound Elena hadn't heard all week. They stood by the stove, chatting about school, favorite foods, and sadness. "Miss Elena, do you have any kids?" Lily asked quietly as she took her first bite. "I did. 2 of them," Elena replied softly. "But they're gone now." Lily looked up, her eyes wide. "You were a nurse, weren't you?" Elena froze. "How did you know?" "I saw a blue uniform in the bathroom closet, and you just seem like someone who knows how to take care of people." Her words made Elena's throat tighten. "You're right," she nodded. "I used to be a nurse. I left the hospital to care for my husband when he got really sick. After he passed, I had to find whatever work I could to keep going." Lily was quiet for a moment, then said, "I lost my mom too. My dad's really sad about it, but sometimes he forgets how to show he cares." Elena placed her hand gently over Lily's. Her eyes were full of something that had been missing from this house, genuine warmth. "If you ever need someone to talk to, or even just to sit with, I'm always here, okay?" "Okay," Lily smiled. "Thank you for the pancakes. I really like them." They sat in silence for a few seconds, not an awkward one, but a comforting pause. For the first time in that cold, perfect mansion, a little warmth had found its way in. That afternoon, Nathan returned home for a quick lunch between meetings. As he stepped inside, he found Elena quietly tidying the living room. Everything was immaculate, the carpet freshly vacuumed, cushions perfectly arranged, not a thing out of place. "Elena," Nathan said without looking at her, "the house looks better today." "Thank you, Mr. Carter." But then his tone shifted, his expression darkening. "There's something I'm not pleased about." Elena looked up, her heart skipping a beat. "Lily told me you made her pancakes this morning, and that you were chatting with her." Elena kept her composure. "She asked me a few questions. I was just being kind." "Kindness isn't part of your job description," Nathan snapped. "Sir, I'm sorry. I won't—" "Let me be clear," Nathan interrupted. "You are not to get close to my daughter. You are not her friend, her nanny, or her confidant. You were hired to clean. Your role is to be invisible. I don't want any unnecessary attachment between you and Lily." Elena stood still. Her heart ached, but her face remained calm. "And one more thing," he added, his voice colder now. "Do not make any changes to Lily's meals without my approval. You made pancakes without permission. That won't happen again." "Yes, sir, it won't," Elena replied quietly. "Because if it does, you'll join the 4 others who came before you. Understood?" "Understood, sir." Nathan walked away, leaving Elena alone in the spotless room, perfect on the outside, but quietly shattered within. She wasn't angry at Nathan. She was angry at the situation, angry at having to swallow disrespect to simply stay afloat. And in that moment, she told herself, "I will follow the rules. I will keep my distance. I will not lose this job." That evening, Nathan hosted a private dinner at home with 3 important clients, men who were considering a major contract to distribute his company's new line of high-end electric cars. The mansion glowed under warm lights, every detail meticulously arranged. Elena moved silently in the background, preparing wine, canapes, and wiping down the kitchen. "Elena, bring the drinks to the living room," Nathan called from the main hall. "Yes, sir." Elena quietly carried a tray of premium whiskey, white wine, and crystal glasses, serving the 3 men who were laughing and conversing with Nathan. "This is a stunning home," said one of the guests, Mr. Griffin. "Thank you," Nathan replied proudly. "I believe our environment reflects our values." At that moment, Lily came down the stairs in a soft pink dress, her hair neatly brushed, holding her music book. "Lily, come say hello to our guests," Nathan said. "They'd love to hear you play." "I'd be happy to." Lily bowed politely and sat down at the grand piano in the living room. Music began to flow, gentle, precise, but from the kitchen doorway, Elena noticed Lily's small hands trembling slightly. "She's nervous," Elena thought, a flicker of concern in her chest. Nathan beamed as Lily finished the first piece. "Now play the French song you learned last week." "Yes, sir," Lily began, but halfway through she suddenly stopped and clutched her throat. "I'm sorry. I think I swallowed something wrong." "Keep going, Lily," Nathan said impatiently. "You can do it." "Dad, Her voice caught. That was when Elena saw it. Lily was choking. The little girl clutched her neck, her face paling, then turning a deep shade of purple. No voice, no breath. "Mr. Carter!" Elena yelled, bursting from the kitchen. "She's choking!" "No, she's just nervous," Nathan reflexively replied, trying to maintain composure in front of his guests. But then he saw her eyes, terrified, pleading, and her skin now visibly blue. "Lily! Oh my God!" Nathan rushed forward but froze, clueless. One of the guests reached for his phone to dial 911. "There's no time," Elena shouted. "I can handle this." She moved swiftly behind Lily, pulling her gently forward, forming a fist below her ribcage and placing the other hand over it. "Breathe, Lily. I'm right here. I'm going to help you." First thrust, nothing. Second thrust, still nothing. Nathan stood paralyzed. Lily's face was turning bluer. "Please, do something," he begged. "I am," Elena growled, delivering a third, sharper thrust. Pop! A small piece of candy shot out of Lily's mouth, landing on the floor. The girl began coughing violently. "Breathe, sweetie, slow and steady," Elena said, gently rubbing her back. "You're doing great." Lily collapsed into Elena's arms, sobbing as Elena checked her pulse and breathing. She was okay. The room was dead silent. Nathan dropped to his knees, hands over his face. The three clients sat frozen, pale. You saved my daughter," Nathan whispered. Mr. Griffin stood. "I think we should give your family some space. Let's reschedule." After the guests left, Nathan walked over to Elena, who was still holding Lily. "Elena, No need to thank me, sir. I just did what I know." "You were a nurse." 15 years. That reaction was instinct." Nathan slumped into a chair. "Yesterday, I called you useless. Today, you saved my daughter's life." Elena looked at him. No anger, just truth. "Can you forgive me?" he asked quietly. Lily clung to Elena's hand and looked at her father. "Dad, Miss Elena is kind." Elena glanced at Lily, then back at Nathan, who for the first time wasn't proud or powerful, just human. "Yes, I forgive you. Everyone makes mistakes." And in that moment, Nathan Carter realized the woman he'd once dismissed as invisible had just held his entire world together. 3 days after Lily's choking incident, the atmosphere in Nathan Carter's home had completely shifted. The silence was still there, but it was no longer cold. Nathan's eyes had changed, no longer indifferent, but filled with something Elena hadn't seen before: gratitude, respect, and perhaps a hint of remorse. That Thursday morning, as Elena washed dishes after breakfast, Nathan stepped into the kitchen, a rare occurrence. "Elena," he said, his voice low, but no longer harsh. "Yes, Mr. Carter? Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Why didn't you tell me you used to be a nurse when you came to work here?" Elena set the dish down, dried her hands, and turned to face him. "Because I tried to return to the medical field after my husband died," she said. "But I'd been out of it for too long. I was older, Hospitals wanted newer, faster, cheaper staff. I needed money, so I took whatever job I could find. Nathan was quiet for a moment. He nodded. You saved my daughter. And more than that. Lily is a special girl, Elena said. Bright, sensitive, and very lonely. Nathan lowered his head. I built a perfect world with no warmth. You brought that back. He looked at Elena for a long moment, then said slowly, Elena, I'd like you to keep caring for Lily, not just as staff, but as someone she can trust. Elena smiled gently. If you truly want that, I'll stay. Just then, Lily ran down the stairs and threw her arms around Elena. Miss Elena, you're not leaving, right? No, sweetheart. I'm staying, Elena said, hugging her back. As long as you need me. And in that little kitchen, for the first time in years, a family began to form again, not by blood, but by kindness and trust. Do you think forgiveness in a moment like this is strength or weakness? Since the night Lily nearly lost her life, Nathan had not been the same man. He didn't change overnight, but every glance, every gesture was different. He began greeting Elena each morning. Sometimes, as she poured his coffee, he'd ask how she slept. He no longer snapped over minor inconveniences. But the biggest change was in how he saw Lily. Before, Nathan cared for his daughter like a checklist, school drop-offs, tutors, strict routines. Now he truly noticed her. When Lily laughed, he smiled too. When she told stories about school, he listened without glancing at his phone. Slowly, genuinely, he began learning how to be a father. Elena noticed. She never said it aloud, but every time she saw Nathan sitting next to Lily with a book or asking what she wanted for dinner, something warm bloomed in her chest. The threads between the three of them, once scattered, were starting to weave into something whole. Elena and Lily had grown closer than ever. Lily told her everything about classmates, her teacher, how much she missed her mom, even her strange dreams. Elena became the first person Lily sought when anything happened. And more than once, Nathan found the two of them curled up on the couch, giggling like mother and daughter. One sunny Sunday afternoon, Nathan suggested a picnic. Elena was surprised, but didn't decline. They drove to a quiet park by the lake, Lily running under the shade of trees, while the adults sat on a blanket watching her dance in the light. It's been a long time since I've seen her this happy, Nathan said, eyes never leaving Lily. She's a beautiful soul, Elena smiled. All she needs is someone willing to listen. There was a pause, then Nathan turned to her, voice soft. Elena, can I ask you something? Of course. Why did you leave nursing? It's clear you were great at it. You were made to care for people. Elena lowered her gaze. A gentle breeze passed through. Her expression grew distant. I used to have 2 sons, she began slowly. They were my whole world. Nathan froze. Elena continued. One morning, my husband was driving them to school. A truck lost control, hit them head on. None of them made it. Her words fell like a silent blade. Elena, I don't even know what to say. You don't need to, she said, still watching Lily in the distance. But I do know one thing. Since stepping into this house, I've felt like a part of me has returned. Lily reminds me what it felt like to be a mother. Her voice trembled. I love her like my own. Not because I want to replace anyone, but because there's still space in my heart for love. Nathan looked at her for a long moment. And I know, she continued, that you love her deeply too. You've just never been shown how to express it. Nathan nodded, eyes misted. You helped me see that, Elena. You didn't just save Lily, you're saving me too. Elena smiled, a soft smile, full of grief and healing all at once. In that golden afternoon, in a simple park, 2 broken souls began to mend, one moment at a time. On Tuesday morning, Elena was hanging towels in the backyard when her phone buzzed in her apron pocket, a number she didn't recognize. She answered. "Hello, this is Dr. Rachel Kim from St. David's Children's Hospital." The voice was clear and professional. "We received your name through a former colleague. Are you the Elena Morales who used to work as an ICU nurse?" Elena's breath caught. "Yes, I was, but it's been years. We're looking for someone with both experience and deep empathy. If you're open to it, we'd love to invite you for an interview as a pediatric care coordinator." Elena gripped the phone tighter, her heart pounding. She couldn't remember the last time someone had invited her back. "Thank you," she said softly. "Can I have the night to think it over?" "Of course. I'll await your call." When the call ended, Elena stood still in the garden. The breeze tugged gently at the towels. On the windowsill, the lavender lily had planted had just begun to bloom. That evening, in the soft glow of the kitchen lights, Elena prepared dinner with a quiet uncertainty resting in her chest. The message from St. David's Children's Hospital still sat open on her phone. She had read it dozens of times that afternoon, but hadn't yet found the courage to say it aloud. She pan-seared chicken, chopped fresh salad, set the table like always. But her hands trembled. She wasn't afraid of the job itself. She was afraid of what it meant, choosing between a calling she once left behind and the family she was slowly growing into. When the three sat down to eat, the clinking of cutlery blended with Lily's joyful stories from school. Nathan shared a tale about a difficult client that made Lily laugh so hard she nearly spilled her juice. Elena smiled, but her heart remained quiet. Finally, she set her fork down and drew a breath. "I have something to tell you both," she said, her eyes soft as she looked at them. Father and daughter looked up. Lily tilted her head. Nathan set his glass down. "This morning I got a call from St. David's Children's Hospital. They'd like to interview me for a position as a pediatric care coordinator." Silence stretched for a beat. Nathan's brow lifted, not with concern, but surprise. Lily spoke first. "What's a care coordinator?" "It's someone who helps doctors and nurses work together to make sure little patients get the best care." Elena smiled. "You're going back to nursing?" Nathan asked gently. "Maybe," Elena said, "if I accept, but it also means I won't be home all day anymore." The room dimmed just slightly. Lily looked at Elena, her eyes briefly clouded, but then she nodded, lips tight with determination. "Miss Elena, if that's what you want to do, I really support you." Elena blinked, moved. "Even if I don't cook dinner every night?" "Even if you're not here every morning," Lily said firmly. "Because I think, if someone can do what you do, they should help more people. Like you helped me." Elena pulled Lily into her arms. "Thank you, sweetheart. I love you very much." Nathan had been quiet, but now, in the golden warmth of the dining room, he realized something. This woman hadn't just saved his child, she had become the very soul of their home. Later that night, Nathan stepped into Lily's room as she was curling up in bed. He sat at the edge of the mattress. "Sweetheart, can I ask you something?" Lily blinked. "You're allowed, Dad." Nathan smiled. "Do you like Miss Elena?" "I love her. She's nice, and she's always there when I feel sad. And even when I was choking, she giggled." Nathan's smile softened. "I think it's time she truly became a part of our family. What would you think if I asked her to marry me?" Lily's eyes widened, then sparkled. "Dad, you should have done that a long time ago." "Really?" "Yes, because I want a mom I can hug any time. And I think Miss Elena needs someone to hug her back." Nathan pulled his daughter into his arms, his heart full. After Lily had gone to bed, Nathan found Elena cleaning up the kitchen. "Elena," he said softly. She turned. "Yes?" "Earlier when you talked about the job, I've been thinking." Her heart fluttered. "And I realized, no matter where you go, I don't want you to go out of my life." He stepped closer. "I don't want Lily to just see you for a few hours a week. I don't want to be the man who only thanks you for meals or for saving lives. I want you as family, for real." He reached into his pocket, pulling out a small velvet box. Inside was a simple, elegant ring, quiet but full of promise. "Elena Morales, will you marry me?" Elena lifted her hand to her mouth. Tears filled her eyes, warm and overflowing. But this time, not from sorrow or fear, but from profound, joyful belonging. Her voice cracked. Yes, I will." Elena was still trembling, eyes locked on the sparkling ring on her finger, when Lily dashed down the stairs, barefoot, hair tousled, glowing with joy. "I knew you'd say yes," the little girl squealed. Before Elena could speak, Lily threw her arms around her. It was such a forceful hug that Elena took a step back in surprise, but then dropped to her knees, arms wide, pulling the girl close. Lily's small frame was warm, soft, and more familiar than anything else in Elena's world. She held her tight, her heart melting in her chest. She had once held 2 children like this, and lost both. She thought that kind of love was gone forever. But then Lily whispered something. Her voice was small, shaky, but clear. "I love you so much, Mom." The world froze. Elena pulled back slightly, searching Lily's eyes to see if she'd misheard. But no, those big, bright eyes were shining, sincere, overflowing with love. What did you just call me?" Elena asked, voice trembling. Lily smiled. "Mom, if you're marrying Dad, then that means you're my mom now, right?" Elena broke. The tears came freely, but not from grief. This time, they were full of something she thought she'd never feel again. The miracle of being a mother. She didn't say anything right away. She just pulled Lily tighter into her arms, breathing in the moment, as if trying to memorize what love felt like all over again. "Yes, Mom is here, sweetheart," she whispered, wrapping Lily up in her arms. "Mom will always be here." 3 weeks after the proposal, on a soft golden Saturday afternoon, they held a small wedding right in the backyard, where everything had begun. There were no fancy gowns or towering cakes, just a long wooden table, wildflowers picked from the garden, string lights hanging from the oak trees, and the people who truly mattered. Elena wore a simple white dress, her hair pinned gently, her face glowing. Nathan wore a light blue shirt, no tie, but eyes full of certainty and love. Lily stood between them, holding a tiny bouquet, acting as both ring-bearer and speaker. "Today is not just a wedding," Lily said in her clear voice. "Today, we become a new family." Elena nearly cried then and there. After the wedding, life didn't become perfect, but it became beautifully alive. Elena started her new job at St. David's Children's Hospital as a care coordinator, returning to the work she loved. Each morning she left home with a kiss on Lily's forehead, and every evening she returned with stories of tiny patients learning to smile again. Nathan, for the first time in years, learned to slow down. He stopped obsessing over deals, meetings, or emails at midnight. He learned to make Sunday pancakes, fold laundry, and even fix the porch roof with Elena. He wasn't just a husband, he became a true partner. And Lily, the girl who once tiptoed through her own house, now burst through it. She didn't just smile, she laughed, she talked freely, and hugged her mom every chance she got. One evening, Elena found a stapled stack of papers on the kitchen table. Lily's writing assignment. The prompt, "Describe your hero." Elena hesitated, not wanting to intrude. But Nathan gave her a quiet nod. "Read it." In that essay, Lily wrote, "My hero doesn't wear a cape or fly. My mom wears an apron, a name tag, and knows how to make people feel loved. She saved my life, but more importantly, she saved my family from sadness. She didn't replace my birth mom. She opened up a new room in my heart where I could love someone else too. Her name is Elena, and she's my hero, in the quietest, kindest, most amazing ways." Elena's hands trembled as she finished reading. Tears fell silently, soaking into the paper, into the lines written by a little girl who had once been so quiet, so lost. Nathan walked over and placed a hand gently on her shoulder. No words were needed. She looked at him, then up at the ceiling, where the warm light shimmered off her wedding ring. She had once lost everything. Now she had it all, just in a different way. A family, a home, a little girl who called her mom, and a life loved exactly the way she deserved. 2 years after their backyard wedding, life wasn't just peaceful, it was complete. The house still echoed with laughter. But now there was a new sound, tiny cries and gurgles from a little bundle of life. Emma, the daughter Elena and Nathan had together, was born on a soft March morning, full of sunlight that felt like spring's very first breath. Lily fell in love with her instantly. Even before Emma was born, Lily would rest her hands on Elena's belly and tell made-up fairy tales. When Emma arrived, Lily insisted on being the first to hold her and stayed by her side until the baby finally drifted off to sleep. Nathan had transformed completely. He now knew how to change diapers, warm bottles, and rock a baby for hours, something he never imagined himself doing. Sometimes Elena would stand quietly in the doorway, watching him hold Emma, heart full to the brim with quiet gratitude. Every evening they ate dinner together. No phones, no laptops, just 3 voices and 1 tiny cry. Lily, now 10, stood taller, shined brighter, and still wrote more than anyone she knew. One evening, Elena found a paper on the kitchen table again. This time, the title read simply, "My Family." In it, Lily wrote, "I used to only have my dad. Then Mom Elena came, and I learned what it means to be loved again. Now I have baby Emma. She doesn't talk yet, but she smiles at me every morning. I don't need a perfect family. I just need one that's real. And now, I have it." Elena clutched the paper to her chest, her eyes stinging. She thought of the empty nights after she lost her husband and children, when she never thought she'd be a mom again, never thought she'd be loved again. And now, she was a mother of 2, a wife, alive, not just surviving, but truly living. Nathan walked in, saw her standing still, and asked softly, "Did Lily make you cry again?" Elena laughed through her tears. "That girl is breaking hearts with a pencil." He wrapped his arms around her. "Thank you for walking into our lives. You changed everything." Elena nodded, pressing her palm against his chest. "And you gave me a reason to believe in miracles again." That night, they held their 2 daughters close, one big, one small, and shared stories about love, loss, and hope. Because some families are born through blood, and some are built through choice, through arms that open, through hearts that dare to love again.